If you've been to the theater in New York, then you've definitely seen Frank Belizzo's work. Since the 1970s, Fravor, as he's known professionally, has created some of the most iconic poster art in recent theater history, designing images for Broadway, off-Broadway, and beyond. Recently, TDF joined Fravor in his office at Elleron Murphy Group, where he shed some light on his distinctive career.
The very first thing I get is a script. Sometimes it's clear from the script if the show is a comedy.
Right.
Or, very intense drama. Sometimes it really isn't. If you're just given this blind manuscript, hopefully after reading it you can figure that out. If that's step one. If that's clear, then it's really just trying to distill that 2-hour thing into an image that would attract someone. In the case of Luke, we are dealing with a star, which is always helpful in getting somebody's attention.
Right.
The fact that the star is playing an outrageous former living actress is another fabulous thing, because the character, I don't know if you can see it right now, the character is pretty phenomenal and very distinctive. So we started with something very simple, because the story is about Tallulah Bankhead trying to record one line of dialogue for a movie and not being able to do it because she's drunk and coked up and distracted and all that stuff. So what this poster does right away is give you glamour, which is always the first thing I think of in terms of Tallulah Bankhead, and the fact that she's recording. So this is where we started. Another idea was using a headshot of Tallulah with her autograph on it, plus cigarette ashes and a microphone tipped over. That was a little more serious looking, until we decided it is indeed a comedy and that's what we're going for. Then I started to get a little more into the tabloid Tallulah, so I had some ghosted headlines from actual Tallulah newspaper clippings that were like the shocking things she would do. And this is actually the first incarnation of the logo. It changed slightly in the finished piece, but this is the first place they've seen it. This poster is where I really was playing on the tabloid aspect.
Right.
So it has many, many more obvious headlines about Tallulah.
Right.
We were trying to get across very clearly the fact that it wasn't a one-woman show, so I added the other character. Although there are two other characters, I added one. And this was the sort of beginning of using the reels as part of the logo, which I then developed into this version. And this is where the graphic reels came from. And dropped the element of the actual words from the newspaper. Right. Because I think the producers were a little shy about some of the shocking things that they were saying. Right. So we removed those. And this was getting closer to where we ended, which it basically is that, but this was the last comp they had seen. And it even changed from here, obviously, because then I decided the white would be a much stronger element and presented this, and that's where we ended up. Quite honestly, I did this before it was cast. And I knew what type they were looking for, so it sort of helped me in looking for a photograph. I mean, this is a royalty-free stock image. This is actually a photograph of a man on a beach.
So, interesting.
And the thought I had, and it sort of solved the problem, was trying to show him directing. But also the reason I love this photo in particular is it also looked like he wanted to strangle her. I mean, you really don't know what he's doing. Right. And in the show, it makes me laugh because very often he looks like he does want to strangle her. There are a couple of different ways that happens. The thing I love about what I do is it is absolutely the very, very first thing anybody sees about a new show. Right. So I'm setting the tone for what's to come. And part two to the question of what I like most about this, aside from being the first image, I'm also the one thing that stays behind. You know, a year later, you're thinking of Sweeney Todd and you want to read something about it. Well, the program has my artwork on it. If you want to order a poster, the poster has the artwork on it. So it is the thing that stays, which is, I think, fabulous.